Hog Rider is one of, if not the most popular card in Clash Royale. And it shows because people will run it in almost anything. And that leads to people not knowing how to play the card because you're not playing it in the correct decks. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to actually play Hog Rider and how to actually play Hog Rider decks. Well, before we start, what exactly is a deck a Hog fits well in? Well, he normally fits well in quick cycle decks where you're able to outcycle your opponents. They typically have 2 cycle cards, a mini tank, and a key defending unit like it's going to do all the dirty work. So sorry, your 5.0 Mega Knight Boss Bandit cycle deck isn't going to work here. So now that you know what you're working with, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to start out by playing 2.6. It's kind of pretty much the most basic Hog deck and most well-rounded, I guess. I'm going to go in for my Ice Spirit here and then get a Fireball on this. And then I can get some Skellies down. Let's get an Ice Golem here. And then I can get a Hog Rider behind. So basically, you want to be able to cycle to your hogs really quickly. The main premise is just, it's why it's in a cycle deck. The main premise is just cycle until your Ice Golem here. Yeah, that's gonna take some damage, but that's fine. So the main premise is cycle, try and outcycle your opponent's counters, and then defend. So you'll notice in these Hog decks that you have a key defending unit, and this one recruits. In this one you have the Musketeer, and you just want to defend the Musketeer with your life, pretty much. And then the Ice Golem is not only good for tanking, it's also good for defending. Let's get a... oh, I don't have any elixir. Get Skillies down. Yeah, we're gonna take some damage, but that's fine. Yeah, that's nothing to worry about. I'm just gonna get a Musketeer at the back here and get a log down. That was almost a nice prediction. Well, it was a nice attempt at a prediction. Okay, we are down here. Nice Musketeer locks and gets some nice damage. Yeah, he just goes in for his recruits again. It's nice how he doesn't have Evo recruits because I don't really have any splash damage. And then I'm just gonna get Evo Cannon up high, knock all those shields off. I'm gonna get a Fireball on the switch as well. Let's get this and Skillies like up here. So yeah, you see, I'm just defending my witch the best I can. And I'm gonna please, it's gonna charge. Yeah, that was my bad. Okay, let's get Skillies here and then Fireball this. Probably not the best Fireball, but should get some nice damage. Okay, that's fine. And I'm just gonna get Musketeer on this side. Let's get a log down here and then Nice Spirit. Should kill it. Get a nice Ice Golem, nice. Get a log down here. So you see I have 2 Musketeers down. So this is really threatening because 2 Musketeers on the field is really good for me. And yeah, he's probably not going to be able to stop this. Alright, nice. Alright, on to our next match, and we're using Hoggy Q in this one. And this is actually a good matchup because I kind of want, not really, but I want to show the power of defending, and this is one of the main decks I use. So yeah, let's get a Bar Barrel down here, and then a Mighty Miter down here. So in this deck, your Firecracker is the main defending unit. The difference between this and Musketeer is that Firecracker actually dies to arrows, but Musketeer doesn't die to Fireball, which is interesting. Oh, Eagle. Okay, so yeah, this is actually really good to showcase the defense of this deck. So yeah, I'm just gonna get. So you see, the Firecracker is just there, splashing away. And I'm going to get Skellies down here. And you want to get your king up, if possible, in a lot of matchups, because it's going to help out a lot on defense. Because where you're lacking in some DPS cards, the king can help there. Like if you don't have your Mighty Miner in cycle. Let's go in for my Hog here. And then if he goes in for, yeah, he goes in for an Evo Mega Knight. I'm just gonna get my Firecracker at the back here, and then probably a Mighty Miner, like here. Oh, he has a Graveyard. Okay, it's nice that we have our king up because that's gonna help on defense quite a bit. Yeah, and that was really nicely done. And that Mega Knight should be countered. Okay, it gets a little bit of damage on tower. I'm just gonna go in for my Hog Rider again. You see that I'm already back to a Hog Rider. He does have the Evo Witch, but I'm already have my Barbarrel back in cycle. So, okay, I'm just gonna get an Evo Cannon down here and then a Firecracker. And let's get a Barbarrel down here. It does have poison, which is kind of annoying, but that should be nothing to worry about. Okay, and that witch should die pretty nicely. Okay, and now we can go in for another Hog Rider. See, you really want to pressure your opponents in hog decks like this and kind of overwhelm them. And you have the Earthquake here for... You have the Earthquake in this deck for defense. Offense, I mean. Because sometimes you can't outcycle your opponent, so it's nice to have an Earthquake. Okay, yeah, we are going to take a little bit of damage. Kind of scary. But I can just go in for my Hog Rider here, an Earthquake. But you really don't need to play Hogs in some matchups, and we take the tower. On to our third and final matchup here. I'm playing Hoggy Q again. Because Hoggy Q is the perfect example of a Hog deck. It has a good defending unit. Its defense is really strong. It's really good to pressure with. Oops, I messed up that placement. Okay. And you don't really need to go in for Hogs here. Don't need to really go in for Hogs to win a game. You can really just win a game by Earthquake cycling. Now, in some matchups, that's not ideal because you do need that pressure in some matchups. That was a really nice bomb, by the way. But it's not the end of the world if you don't get a Hog to break through. Let's look at a Firecracker here. It's kind of annoying how that thing broke through. Okay, I'm gonna need to get a Barbarrel. I'm completely missed the Barbarrel. Wow. Okay, well that's fine. You see the Firecracker is gonna provide a lot of value here. He's gonna activate King, but in certain matchups, you don't really care about activating King in this deck because the Hog just does so much damage so quickly. So let's get a Firecracker down here. Like, it's 0 shots, nice. And I'm gonna go for my Hog here. Just push with this Firecracker. And that Ghost should come alive. And yeah, nice. And we got that Hog on tower. So this guy doesn't have a building, it seems like. So I'm just gonna get an Evo Cannon. Wait, for your Evo Cannons, ooh, very nice Evo Cannon. For your Evo Cannons, you kind of just want to look to play something. You don't really want to save it, but you also don't want to use it on something. Like, you want to play on something like a Dark Goblin or like Rascal Girls or a Firecracker. So you see there, I used it on the Rascal Girls, and I even caught the whatever it's called, even caught the Skelly Barrel. So yeah, I'm gonna go in for my Hog here again, and I'm gonna get an Earthquake down as well. He does have Vines. That's just gonna kill my Firecracker. I don't know why he did that, because that Firecracker wasn't really providing any threat. So I'm just gonna go in for my Goblin Barrel here. My Barbarrel, and yeah, I might take some damage here, but I can get an... Ooh, no. Okay. Yeah, that was actually really nicely defended, even though he took some damage. Because I can go in for another Hog here. He might go in for Vines on top of it, and I'm just gonna... Yeah, Earthquake. Let's get a Mighty Miner down. And yeah, we're gonna almost take the tower. This is... I don't think this guy's coming back from this, unless he gets a really big push, which I can't defend, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Okay, and then I can just go in for my Barbarrel, and... Yeah, nice. Now we just need to get an Earthquake, and then we win. Yeah, and that was a really nice final match. Now I'm going to show you how to make a Hog deck. So obviously you need the main man himself, Hog Rider. And the most important aspect of a Hog Rider deck is quite obviously the defending card, because without the defending card, you're not gonna defend anything and you're just gonna lose. So there's 3 cards you can use that fit well in hog decks. There's a Firecracker, there's the Musketeer, and the Executioner. For the deck I'm gonna be making, I'm gonna use the Musketeer. Okay, now you need 2 cycle cards. Skeletons and Ice Spirit is what you'll see in the majority of decks, but you can also use Skelly's E-Spirit, you can use Goblins too. For my deck, I'm going to be using Goblins and E-Spirit. Okay, now we're going to use a building. The buildings you want to use are either Cannon or Tesla. For mine, I'm going to be using a Cannon. Now you need a mini tank. So mini tanks are like Valkyrie, Mighty Miner, Ice Golem. The mini tank I'm going to be using is Valkyrie to make this deck more unique. Okay, and now time for your spells. You want spells that complement the Hog Rider, so something like a Fireball or an Earthquake work well for the big spell, but for the small spell, Log or Bar Barrel should work fine. You can also use arrows too if you want, but I recommend Log or Bar Barrel. So for my deck, I'm going to be using Earthquake and Bar Barrel. Alright, now that you have your deck, you have to decide which evos you want to use. So the evos that you don't want to use in your deck are Evo Musketeer and Evo Skeletons. Evo Skeletons, because they're not that good of an Evo right now, and they just don't provide as much value as normal Skeletons. And there's other Evos you would want to use instead. An Evo Musketeer, mainly because it's not really that good in Hog decks, because what the Evo Musketeer does, Fireball or Earthquake can do as well. I mean, it's always nice to have that 2-in-1 card, but Evo Musketeer is better in other cycle decks, which I'll get to in a future video. If you have Executioner, Cannon, or Tesla in your deck, you want to be using those evos. And I forgot to mention, if you're using Executioner, then you want to be using Tornado instead of your building. So that just helps a bit. Cannon and Tesla just provide so much value, and Xe doesn't get that much value by itself, so having the extra defending unit helps out a bunch, because it just knocks everything back and it's great on defense. If you have Firecracker in your deck, you also want to be using that, because it just provides more value and it's more of a threat if on offense because of the poison. The majority of the time your mini tank isn't going to have an evo. In my case it does. So if you are in a case where you, like my deck, where you don't need the Musketeer or Skelly evo, I would recommend using your Valk evo if you have the Valk as well. So I'm going to be using Evo Valk and Evo Cannon for my deck. And then an honorable mention to the Ice Spirit evo. Ice Spirit evo can help out a bunch on defense, but sometimes other evos are better to have over it, like Evo Firecracker, Evo Cannon, and just normal Ice. If you have Ice Spirit in your deck, normal Ice Spirit just does the job fine. And with that, that's how you play Hog Rider. If you want me to do this style of video with another card, just comment it and I'll do it again. But if you like the video, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.